Hey YouTube, it's Nathan from Team Sorority Gamer Channel, and today I'm going to be chatting with you about a few different things about Majora's Mask. I'm going to be talking about a few tips. First off, let's get a new file loaded up here, and we'll get some of these credits playing. You can see I had two save files there. The other one I've been playing kind of on my own. I haven't recorded in a while, but I just wanted to talk about this game, and this is the GameCube version, just so everybody knows. I have the Legend of Zelda Master Collection, and this is the Majora's Mask from that. So you'll notice occasionally, as it states on the startup disc, that sometimes there's delays on the game. It's not any indication of an issue with your system or anything like that. It's really just from them porting the game over from the N64 onto this disc. Obviously there was quite a bit of information for them to fit. There's 4 different games on this disc, one of them being Majora's Mask, the other 3 being The Adventure of Link and The Legend of Zelda, I believe, as well as Ocarina of Time, which was another port from the N64. Now, the first tip I would be to give is you have to do a lot of stuff in this game before you can save again. So if you're going to start this game, just keep in mind that it's going to be a bit of time before you actually get to a point where you can stop playing a file. So I don't think that I'll go through the entire first sequence of getting to that, but it does involve going through the entire first set of 3 days as a Deku scrub, and then when the clock tower opens on the final day, which you'll know by talking to the citizens of Clock Town, that's the only night it opens is at midnight on the carnival. That's when you'll be able to get the ocarina back, and then once you have the ocarina, you will be able to turn back time, which is a huge part of this game. Another tip that I would give is don't be afraid to turn back time. Just make sure you deposit your rupees in the bank. Try not to turn back time if you're in the middle of a quest. Obviously, if you're in the long string of events, you don't want to be turning back the clock with the Song of Time, but don't be afraid to do it. Some of the items that you can get that require 3-day cycles are definitely worthwhile, particularly the Gilded Sword. If you're not familiar with this game yourself, then that's an item that you wouldn't have heard of yet. But there is no Master Sword in this game because this actually takes place in a separate world, so to speak, in the land of Termina, rather than like Ocarina of Time, which takes place in Hyrule. Most of the other previous titles have also. One thing you will notice is that this young Link carries a full-size shield. That is because this is a direct sequel to Ocarina of Time. So this Link is the Link that was sent back in time at the end of the game of Ocarina of Time, if you're not familiar with that. Spoilers, but it's been around for quite a while, and I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've probably had some experience with The Legend of Zelda, so I think I'm safe to say that that's what happens in the end. I won't spoil any of the plot, but this title was definitely one of the more complicated titles. There's quite a few different things to do that take a lot of dedication to complete in this game. Particularly if you're looking to 100% complete, which I have done a few times. There's a lot of trading sequences, there's a lot of gathering, lots and lots of 3-day cycle resetting, particularly to earn heart pieces. There's some very painstaking and potentially aggravating mini games where you can get heart pieces from, so that's also something to keep in mind. They did do a 3D remaster of this game on the Nintendo 3DS. I do own it, but I haven't actually played it yet. I'm really a big fan of the vintage style looking games. This is obviously what I grew up on, and it just brings back a lot of great memories for me. So I tend to play the ones that look the same as before. That being said, like I mentioned, I'm not even through the first sequence yet, and we've already been at this for quite a while. This is just the cutscenes that you have to watch at the start of the game, and that doesn't include the full 3-day cycle. The other tip I would give, especially for newer players, is to use the Song of Reverse Time and the Song of Double Time carefully. Reverse Time is probably your most useful ally. The Song of Reverse Time will cut the playtime. Sorry, it won't cut. It will take the playtime that you would normally get, which, if my memory serves correctly, is about an hour and a half of active playtime, and it doubles it because it slows the speed of time in half, cuts it in half. Which will allow you much more freedom when you're attempting to get a lot of these quests and things done. Obviously, this one, we don't have Navi the Fairy from Ocarina of Time. We instead have a new friend. Tael is the other fairy. I can't remember the name of this fairy right now. Talt. There we go. The game provides, as you ask. So Talt is our fairy for this. Not nearly as annoying as Navi for those who have played Ocarina of Time. But still, we're forced to have a fairy companion. A big part of this game is utilizing the abilities of different races. Obviously, in the start, we get to be just a Deku scrub. I think I'll just do my best to get to a decent point so you guys don't have to sit here and watch me just going through all this boring stuff, but yeah, it's important to be able to utilize all the races. Obviously, Deku is your first. Before you achieve the Deku mask, there is no way to be a human again. Obviously, by achieve the Deku mask, I mean get turned back into a human. One thing I will say about this is don't be afraid to try and fly a little farther. Your character tends to fall in a pretty linear pattern, so it's pretty easy to get further than it seems with these Deku flowers. Thankfully, we get to, like I mentioned, eventually turn back into a human. This is very reminiscent of the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time, for those who have played it, with the twisting room. I think after this little sequence with the certain character that we're about to meet, I will call it a video. The last tip that I would leave you after your first 3 days, and you're going to be getting the Deku mask. Obviously, this lovely fellow is our good friend, the Happy Mask Salesman. Again, if you're a veteran Zelda player, you would know him from Ocarina of Time, but he's actually going to be one of our most helpful companions in this game. He's going to turn us back into a human. Uh, all he requires is that we get the mask for him and our ocarina back, which is our plan. Obviously, like I mentioned, getting the ocarina back is a full 3-day cycle. At the end of those 3 days, we have to face off with the Skull Kid. We're obviously not strong enough to defeat him now, so all we have to do is knock the ocarina out of his hand, and then we're able to send ourselves back in time. And then the Happy Mask Salesman turn us back into a human, thankfully, or a Hylian, or whatever race Link actually is in this game. So we'll just get a little taste of what it looks like. So this is the main village. They do a little panorama. Unfortunately, for the first 3 days, you are not able to leave the village. You have to stay in the village fully for those 3 days. There is quite a bit of stuff that you can do. We'll cover that in a different video. But for now, we just got a little glimpse into what the game will look like. And the last tip I will give you, as you get more masks for the different races, there is a small video that plays every time you put on a mask. You do not have to watch it. If you have mask assigned to one of the C buttons, all you have to do is click that same C button again, and then after that it will automatically transform you into whatever race mask you are about to put on. So that's my tips for you guys. Hopefully this may spark an interest in The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask if it's not one you've ever played, and I look forward to sharing all my favorite things about Zelda with you guys. Take care.